Nice to see you today, and I know that I'm supposed to treat you like students, so I would start off by saying you're not slouching, you're not picking your noses enough. No, just kidding. Well, what I would start with is an introduction, and you might be wondering why an 11-year-old is talking to you today. My name is Adora, and at the age of 7, I published my first book, Flying Fingers, Master the Tools of Learning Through the Joy of Writing. More recently, I published a second book called Dancing Fingers, Selected Poems from Two Sisters, which I co-authored with my older sister, Adriana. So I love writing, and one tool that writers use quite often in their work is descriptive writing. And I like to say it's your world, descriptive writing, because in descriptive writing it really is your world, not just that you're describing, but also that you are able to create in your descriptions. In our stories, we should write descriptively so we don't confuse our readers. When we don't write descriptively, we leave questions hanging in the air. So for instance, let's have a look at this line. The creature entered the area. We can see here in purple that there are some things that aren't quite clear. For instance, creature. Is this some kind of jumping tailed elf? Or is this a troll, or is it a deer, or is it some kind of weird, I'm not even sure what that animal is anymore. Or is it this weird walking detour sign? There are lots and lots of different possible creatures you could have for creature. It's not very specific or clear. Enter. Well, then there are ways you can enter, you can run, you can dash, you can walk, you can skip, you can anything. And finally, area. Well, there are thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of areas in the world, from your kitchen, in your house, to the airport. So you would want to be more specific about all of these so that your reader is not wondering, what does he or she mean by creature or entered or area? So what do you think of this sentence? What kinds of questions does it leave? Okay, so if you're supposed to be students, are you going to be answering the questions? So let's start with, what do you think of the sentence?
It's not clear.
It's not clear. Very good. When we look at this sentence, we are questioning it. We wonder what it means, so it's not clear. And then, so we know what questions it leaves about these three things. So that is that sentence. When we write descriptively, we write about what things feel like, taste like, smell like, look like, and sound like, conveniently eliminating our readers' questions. When we describe the senses, when we get rid of the questions, because then the readers won't be wondering, what does this smell like? What does this look like? If we answer those questions first. But does the sentence about the creature talk about the senses?
No.
No, it does not. Not one of them. We can improve the creature sentence by specifying words. Is this creature a human, an animal, a monster? So we can really specify. And then I would try this as an important vocabulary word that you can take a note of. So let's say this creature is a monster. This is somewhat more specific noun. And we can always think about that in detail. So for instance, from monster, well, there are probably a few different types of monsters, right? So we start out with, creature, and then, I'm afraid sometimes my computer is way too delayed. Okay, smell like creature-y. Which I'm not sure is that much more specific, it just has a few more e's on it, right? Creature, and then we can turn that into something like monster, which we can make even more specific as well. And then we can have, what is a type of monster? Would anyone like to give me a type of monster? Bigfoot. Okay, great. So now we can narrow it down a little bit and get a more specific topic, like Bigfoot. So now we want to ask, what does he look like? Well, Bigfoot, I guess, is Bigfoot, but we can still add adjectives like sparkling and adverbs like slowly. How about shaggy, bright pink? Is that what Bigfoot looks like? Okay, well, that's one of the reasons that I say descriptive writing, this is your word, because you can make something like Bigfoot shaggy, bright pink. We can use specific nouns like barbed wire and specific verbs like somersaulted. We can even tell ages to words like toddler, infant, teenager, etc. So, how old is our monster? How about 52? With names, we can get even more precise. If a person is someone you know, you'll know who he or she is as soon as you hear their name. So, if I shout out Bigfoot, then Bigfoot is going to know that I was talking to him. Oh, I wouldn't want to be that close to him. And now, if I shout out your names, then you would know I was talking to you. So if you'd like to give me your name, anyone?
Emily. No.
Emily?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I said, hi, Emily, then you'd know I was talking to you. So names are really helpful when it comes to writing stories, and that is why when you read books, probably most of the characters will have names. So here's a revised sentence. 52-year-old kelp was a shaggy, bright pink Bigfoot, actually. So we can write that. That was a little too thick. Okay. 52-year-old kelp was a shaggy, bright pink Bigfoot monster with yellow teeth and purple eyes. He backflipped into the basement with a loud bang. The basement smelled of rotten eggs. Poor kelp was rather miserable because he had landed on his head. So here are some of the added details. 52-year-old, for starters. Name, kelp, and then we have our looks like shaggy, bright pink Bigfoot monster with yellow teeth and purple eyes. So we get this image of kelp in our mind. And that's one of the important tools of descriptive writing, is giving your readers an image so that they can see what you're describing in their minds. Backflipped into the basement with a loud bang. The basement smelled of rotten eggs. So then I tell students you're really writing for your nose when you're writing about the smells. Because when you tell students about the senses, then they're like, okay, sound, smell, but how am I supposed to write this? So I say write for your nose, write for your ear, write for your hand. So then, and then I say, well, write what your nose is smelling for your nose. And then, so if they want rotten eggs, then it's going to be rotten eggs. In descriptive writing, we're able to do mostly whatever we want, even if it's ridiculous, like a bright pink monster backflipping in the basements. So now I give students a little practice with adding details onto an existing piece of work that does not have enough. So maybe they have written an okay piece of writing. It's, we made a tree house. The tree house is in a tree. The tree house is nice. It has windows and a door.